Hi, I'm San Francisco Mayor London Breed, and I am so excited to be here today to swear in the next Assessor-Recorder for the City and County of San Francisco, Joaquin Torres. And I just want to say a few things about Joaquin because I've known him for so many years. He started off many years ago in city government, in the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, doing work to help support communities. He has really an incredible personality, but he always focused on getting the job done for people who need it the most. It is not a surprise that he's been able to work his way up into numerous positions that have helped steer the city in the right direction. And let me just give you an example. When the San Francisco Housing Authority was in trouble, we were having numerous challenges, and in fact, the federal government threatened to intervene. Joaquin Torres was appointed to serve on the commission, and at that time, he became the president of the commission, and he helped to move us in a direction that has allowed for us to get investments to rehab 3,400 units, to get us off the red with the federal government, and to get us back on track to support the families of the San Francisco Housing Authority. It was very personal for me as someone who lived over 20 years of my life in public housing, that we did something that supported the residents, that didn't displace the residents, and that recognized that they needed to make sure that the conditions of public housing didn't continue down the wrong path, and Joaquin Torres was instrumental in that, and we appreciate his work, which was a volunteer job, you should know, and not to mention his day job. When I became mayor, I appointed Joaquin to be the director of the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. And I did it because my experience as a district supervisor and as someone who worked in the community, he was always about the community. He could have sent staff members, and his staff members were present and available, but he was always on the ground facilitating conversations and making connection between what the community needed and what City Hall needed to do to support them. So it is not a coincidence that when I became mayor, I appointed him to be the director of Office of Economic and Workforce Development, because his leadership style is really what helped to not only look at some of the disparities and issues around equity that we were dealing with in COVID. He worked tirelessly to make sure that grant monies were going to small businesses. He helped create the African American Revolving Loan Fund. He helped address a lot of the disparities with the Latino community when we saw surges of cases in that community and the need to provide financial support to a number of agencies, including those small businesses. The work that he's done to help facilitate conversations and resources in Chinatown, not making a decision solely based on what we needed to do as a city, but looking at the inequities and trying to address those inequities in ways that can make not only our city a better place, but make the lives of the people who he served better. And his understanding of finance, his understanding of how economic development works, his work with small businesses, big businesses, and all things San Francisco makes him just really the perfect candidate to be the next Assessor-Recorder for the City and County of San Francisco. So with that, I'd like to bring Joaquin Torres forward so that I can swear him in and make it official. Are you ready?
Okay.
I, Joaquin Torres,
I, Joaquin Torres,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And during such time
And during such time
as I serve as
as I serve as
the Assessor-Recorder
the Assessor-Recorder
for the City and County of San Francisco.
for the City and County of San Francisco.
Congratulations. Here's your official city pin. Congratulations. Oh, before you make some remarks, let's sign it and make it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your Assessor-Recorder, Joaquin Torres.
Well, thank you, Mayor Breed. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to my family who are here with me today, to my mom, who's listening in from down south, to my two dads, who I married in this building, to my sister, to my wife, to my aunt and uncle up north, to my friends and all of you who are joining us online. The fair assessment and collection of billions of dollars, property tax dollars, is essential to the stability and solvency of this city of San Francisco. And I'm honored, Mayor Breed, for the confidence you've placed in me as I assume these responsibilities as the Assessor-Recorder for the City and County of San Francisco. It's the fundamentals that these resources support: our schools, our firefighters, our sanitation, our economic relief efforts, our public health strategies. All of these depend on the financial foundation built through the hard work of this office, and that is a responsibility I take very seriously. I never imagined where that first meeting would lead us, Mayor Breed. I was still new to public service then, and it was only through conversation that I was aware of you. You're going to go see London? You were then the director of the African American Art and Culture Complex. When you invited me over to discuss our volunteer efforts for Martin Luther King Day in the Western Addition, you treated me with a grace, with a respect, and with a bearing that told me, you better do right by this community, Joaquin. Not much has changed about that. And I am so grateful for yet another opportunity from you to take on new challenges, knowing that this is a partnership anchored in mutual respect for and commitment to community. So thank you. Now, I know I would not be here but for my family today. All my life, by word and example, they pushed me to be the best version of myself. From my grandfather, who as a butcher rose for work before dawn each day so he could buy a home for his family and help his 3 children become an artist, a Calistoga bilingual teacher and education leader, and an amazing public servant. To my nana, who taught me the love of caring, that came in a foil-wrapped package of chorizo burritos that she packed for my flights back and forth between separated parents. To my grandmother, who as a seamstress stitched her way steadily towards the purchase of a beautiful home. And to my father, who broke barriers for Latino politicians at a time when being a Mexican American was a significant hurdle for leadership. And to my mom, who after a career as a writer and journalist taught me the meaning of true courage and strength when she persisted and strived even after tragedy struck and took her sight. And to my sister, who's taught me the possibilities of starting over and starting again as she finishes her third year at Hastings Law School just a few blocks away in the Tenderloin. I'm very proud of my family, my Mexican-American family, a family of teachers, artists, writers, journalists, butchers, caretakers, cooks, seamstresses, and soon-to-be lawyers for what they strive to achieve and what they continue to give back to family and to society. I'm grateful to them for raising me in an environment defined by resiliency, tenacity, possibility, and yes, public service. I'm also a very proud husband to an extraordinary artist, my wife, Rebo, who guides me through the stresses of this public service and who has shown me what it means to be loved, to love, to be wrong, to be compassionate and vulnerable. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing and supporting my love for this work. I'm so fortunate to have these people in my life who have shaped my approach to public service. Not all of us can be so lucky. Not all of us can rest at night knowing that the love and care we hope for, that we know is such an essential part of a productive and successful life, will be there for us when we need it most. It's that awareness and those values, principles, and ethics that my family has instilled in me that carry me through the toughest times, through the hardest of life's challenges. When I called out for help, not knowing what a future could be, not knowing if one even existed for me, it was my family that heard my call. It's that care, our shared values, our principles, and ethics that I've worked to infuse in my 11 years of public service to this city. They've given me the confidence and strength to know with every shred of my being that our communities need to be listened to, that they need to be heard. And it's those values I will bring to this new role as Assessor-Recorder. These are the values we need always, but especially today, when people are hurting so badly, so deeply, when they need and deserve to know there is a government for them that is caring and not callous, with doors that are open and not shut, a government that is accessible, effective, and accountable to you, the people that we are proud to serve. I want to thank City Administrator Chu, who has always exemplified those values, for her guidance to the public and her commitment to the professionals at the Assessor-Recorder's office. Thank you for making this transition a successful one. Now, there are always tough acts to follow in life, and this is certainly one of them. But I'm honored to join a team of hardworking professionals that have made Carmen's vision for fair, accessible, efficient government not only a reality, but an envy of offices up and down the state. That's a legacy I'll strive to continue, and I'm excited to learn and work with all of you at the office to continue down that path. One of excellence, one of continuous improvement for the betterment of San Francisco. And to the team I part with today, the Office of Economic and Workforce Development, you and the difficult work we've done for the past 8 years have prepared me for this moment. It's been a long, hard year for so many businesses and workers throughout this pandemic, for the barbers, the estheticians, the gyms, the bars, the theaters, the actors, the concessionaires, the tattoo artists, the small retailers and restaurants, hotel workers, janitors, and office workers, the nonprofits rising up, and you, all of you, every single one of you rising up to meet these moments, to meet the grit and resolve of so many entrepreneurs determined to make it through this for their workers, for themselves, and for the city that they love. What you've shown me, what all of you have taught me, those with the moral authority, those with the formal authority, the mayors, the assembly members, the senators, the controllers and supervisors, the parish priests and civic artists, what you've taught me once again is that there is always hope on the horizon. and that every storm eventually breaks for the clear sky above. Para los comunidades diversos, for the diverse communities that I have served, with respect and gratitude during these 11 years of service, for the neighborhood leaders, for the coalitions of parity and equity, for the public housing resident councils, for the merchant leaders. Thank you for the confidence you've placed in me to take on this new office, to serve you for many years more, and to find new paths to build a better and more prosperous San Francisco for all of us. I thank you, Mayor Breed, and all of you for your leadership and your trust. Now I'm ready to go to work. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us here today. This concludes our program. Stay safe and healthy, and let's get our city open. All right.